With the release of Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire this weekend, it makes the fifth film in the MonsterVerse franchise, and today I'm going to give you my personal ranking from worst to best. Now, this franchise does include some really fun action set pieces, some big CGI battles, one solo King Kong movie, and some other team-up stuff in there too. I will not include the two shows one show is on the horizon and the Apple Plus TV show Monarch. I'm not considering that on here. I'm just talking about the movie specifically. So sorry Monarch and sorry Skull Island on Netflix coming out pretty soon. I'm not going to be considering any of this for this list here. It's just the 5 MonsterVerse films. Again, going into this is my personal list. I want to hear your guys' list in the comments section down below. I do currently have a poll up on our YouTube community tab, so if you guys would like to vote on what you guys think is the best movie, you can either vote in that poll or leave your list in the comments section down below. Either option is the right option, and I would love to have a good conversation with you guys down there. Number 5 on my list is Godzilla King of the Monsters, which would be Godzilla 2. The big awesome thing about this movie is that Godzilla does take on King Ghidorah, one of my favorite characters from the good old Showa era days of Godzilla. King Ghidorah is an iconic villain for Godzilla, an iconic foe as well. We do see other iconic characters like Mothra appear here as well. And the reason why this one is at the bottom of my list is because we do get those human characters that are just overly boring and I don't care about them at all. We do see Millie Bobby Brown and we see Vera Farmiga here and Kyle Chandler pop up, and these are all talented actors and actresses, but their storylines are just kind of bogged down and convoluted, and I just want to get back to seeing the big giant kaiju monsters here. And it being a movie called King of the Monsters, I want to see a lot more of them, and we don't get a whole lot of time with a lot of them, but we do get Rodan, which is another iconic villain in Godzilla's filmography. But the big final fight sequence between Godzilla and King Ghidorah almost is worthy of moving it up a spot. But number 4 on my list, I gotta go with Godzilla from 2014. Now, this movie had all the promise in the world. The trailer looked fantastic, and having actors like Bryan Cranston, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Elizabeth Olsen in your cast, that sparks like that should be a really great movie. The movie trailer did a bait and switch, because the movie that we got was not what the trailer really advertised, and it kind of subverted my expectations. And we're talking about spoilers for a movie that came out 10 years ago, but Bryan Cranston dies like within the first 30 minutes, and I thought the movie was going to be about him and Aaron Taylor Johnson trying to figure out a way to figure out this Godzilla character, but we don't get Bryan Cranston at all, and his part of the movie was the most interesting part of the movie for me. These were the good characters, the good human characters have kind of been missing from the franchise because we lost these characters way too soon. Aaron Taylor Johnson's very just quiet and emotionless, and you just can't get behind him. At least that's in my opinion. However, the big set pieces, the big fight sequence, and the way Gareth Edwards did film Godzilla, we really don't get a full scope of him until the very last act of the movie, because a lot of the stuff that we do see of him is shoots off really quickly. Everything is kind of especially when you see Godzilla's face for one of the first time, that this door closes, so we don't get to see a lot of him until the very third act, and that kind of bugged me. It's still an awesome movie. It's not crazy bonkers like CGI fest like these new current movies have been, but at the same time, Godzilla is it just lacks the fun that the franchise is known for, and it's definitely super serious, and we are focusing on these characters that we just can't get behind after Bryan Cranston bites it in this movie. So that's where I'm at with it. Probably would say on a filmmaking aspect, it's probably definitely one of the best movies in the franchise, but we're talking about this really a fun monster franchise, and this one is just not as fun for me. Number 3 on my list, I'm going to go with Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire. Now, I spoke kind of highly of some characters on my review, so go check out that review in the comments section down below. For me, the movie is fun, and I liked the Godzilla stuff that we did get. We didn't get enough of it for me, honestly. This movie is called Godzilla and Kong, and I get it that Kong hasn't had a second solo outing, so I appreciate the movie to focus so much and so heavily on Kong here, giving him his own movie, but having the same restraint that put Godzilla in it as well. Godzilla really doesn't show up in for very long sequences and portions of this movie, because we're focusing on Kong and we're focusing on the human characters, which I enjoyed the human element of the movie for this film. But going into it, I wanted more Godzilla and Kong teaming up and trying to take down these evil monkeys in this different realm that is not our world. So maybe I went in with different expectations. It would still be more enjoyable for me. I just want to see another Kong movie, like his own solo outing. So who knows if that's where we get next. But the fun action set pieces here, the set pieces are awesome. I wanted more Godzilla on the screen because it is, his name's in the title. Give us more Godzilla here. All right, number 2 on my list. Godzilla vs. Kong, 2021's version. This is a great, very fun film here, and I loved anything really. And this is another spoiler from a movie that came out a few years ago, but you're watching this ranking here, so you've probably already seen the franchise, hopefully. But I'm a big fan of Mechagodzilla. That's my favorite films from Godzilla, other than the OG version, of course. But Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Mechagodzilla 2, some of my very favorite childhood memories of watching those films that I got from the library. So I watched those ones quite a bit, and so I'm still thoroughly entertained with anything with Mechagodzilla. So Mechagodzilla was kind of teased and then finally showed up at the very end. Of course, I'm on board. This is a very fun movie. Seeing Godzilla and Kong finally fight off, because we didn't see him in King of Monsters. Kong was kind of referenced a little bit at the end of the movie, but we didn't see him take on Kong yet. And considering how crazy silly the OG Godzilla Kong movie was, it's one of those movies that I tried to rent from the library for a long time, but we can never find it because it was always wasn't returned ever. But seeing it many years later, of course, it is very silly, very clunky, and it's just like how these two characters teaming up, fighting each other. It just kind of seems silly and ridiculous. But seeing them in this franchise, it makes perfect sense, and it's a lot of fun. And of course, you get more of that Kong action here too, and Godzilla, of course, kicking butt as well. So going to go number 2 on my list here. Can't quite give it number 1 because number 1, of course, is Kong Skull Island. I'm a big King Kong fan, and for this specific franchise, I'm King Kong all the way here. Kong Skull Island's fun. It reminded me of Apocalypse Now, how it was filmed, little trailers. The cast is phenomenal. Very underrated cast here with Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, John Goodman, just to name a few characters here. It's just a really fun story about Kong, and I really want more from this. I liked how Monarch, I did watch a few episodes of the Apple Plus TV show Monarch, and we do kick it off with John Goodman's character from Kong Skull Island, and seeing them kind of go back into that world. So I want more of Kong here. I want another film of him, so who knows, going forward we get another one. But yeah, it's a fun franchise. There's a lot of fun big kaiju fighting here, and these big giant monster movies are just right up my alley for some good late night popcorn eating fun. So of course that's my ranking of all 5 films from worst to best. I think this is an entertaining franchise, flaws and all, but we really kind of just shut our brains off and enjoy the roller coaster ride that these two big giant entities have taken us on. So Godzilla, Kong, hats off to you for being around so many years later after you first were created. So it's really cool to see it. Hopefully the MonsterVerse does continue, especially after Godzilla Kong. New Empire has been such a blast to kind of think about over the last couple of days. So what's your guys' ranking in the comments section but down below? Let me know there, and I'll see you next time in the next one.